Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's No FOMO Charts Stocks and Crypto TA live stream. I'm streaming live on TradingView, YouTube, Twitch. We also have our X social media group. If you have a question or request, please let me know in the live chat or the YouTube comments after the stream. This week, today is Sunday, November 26, 2023, Sunday, just after 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. USA stock market earnings season is mostly over. The Thanksgiving holiday is mostly over. And it's back to business tomorrow on Monday. So stocks this week, the earnings, we have CrowdStrike, Intuit, Dollar Tree, Salesforce, Five Below, Okta, Ulta Beauty, Dell, and Kroger, just to name a few. Some of the last earnings we're having this week. Preliminary GDP data for economic data releases. We have OPEC JMMC meetings regarding oil and energy. The big inflation data this week is core PCE price index, pending home sales, and another speech by Fed Chair Powell. Especially the core PCE price index matters, and GDP. Because last month's data in October, the CPI and PPI inflation data was better than expected. So CPI and PPI numbers went down last month. We just had Black Friday retail shopping this week in the USA, and USA Black Friday retail shoppers spent a record total of $9.8 billion online this year. That's up compared to 7.5% last year. So we increased up 7.5% this year. That's incredible. Meaning more people shopped online, less people went out to the stores, and less people went out to get those store credit card discount, etc. X social media advertising revenue is at risk as some major companies halt their advertisements due to the post-reply scandal, which is pretty bad. And OpenAI as well, the CEO, Sam Altman, was rehired by the board, so he returned. Apple Corporation plans to adopt the RCS standard on iOS next year. Basically, that allows Apple to communicate and text message with Android devices. For crypto news, this is very important. This is very, very big news. Binance CEO CZ stepped down because of the US Department of Justice sued Binance on a number of federal charges, including global money laundering. So CZ agreed to plead guilty to those charges, and Binance Crypto Exchange agreed to pay $4.3 billion to resolve the Department of Justice's investigations. It's huge news. Huge. Also, the USA SEC charged Kraken Crypto Exchange for operating as an unregistered securities exchange, broker, dealer, and clearing agency here in the USA. This was the biggest news last week. And why do we not have a crypto crash? It's because of the $4.3 billion settlement. The US government has hinted that after FTX crypto exchange crashed and FTX CEO SBF went to jail, I believe this month, they were cautious to not create another bank run, another crypto exchange crash. So this was their way of preventing Bitcoin and crypto from crashing, right? So ultimately, it's really bad for all these crypto exchanges. But if there has to be some kind of regulation policy, hopefully that's not going to affect the future of crypto too much in terms of like exchanges shutting down. But that framework needs to be solidified and finalized at some point in the next 5 to 10 years, I would say. Let's move on to TA charts. Stocks and crypto on the daily. There's many stocks and cryptos on the price resistance zone, and we'll look at some of these right now. So the S&P 500, SPY, QQQ, NASDAQ, Dow Jones, DIA, IWM, Russell 2000, they're all at a price resistance zone right now. It's going to be very obvious. Gold ETF is also in a price resistance zone with a potential double top. XLF financial ETF is also at a price resistance zone. If you've been in the stock market, you knew that we've been rallying for about 2 weeks now. In terms of what's at support, so on the bottom side, the US dollar, XLE Energy ETF, support zone, US oil support zone, and the VIX volatility index for S&P 500 options is also at the price support zone. For crypto, very simply, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana are at resistance zones in the short term, medium term for right now. So let's go look at these charts starting off with stocks. Again, if you have the request, just let me know in the live chat or in the YouTube comments. Welcome, everybody. Let's start off with stocks. SPY, S&P 500. What am I talking about here? So on the daily chart, we can see that we rallied off of this October 2023 low. Actually, we've been rallying for a month now, but for the past 2 to 4 weeks, we had this last rally up. But we're right at a resistance zone, right at 457. This is where we're stuck at right now. Now, in the very long-term picture, yes, there is like a monthly or weekly cup and handle pattern, which is supposed to be bullish. If you know your technical analysis patterns, here's a cup, here's a handle. Theoretically, we should go in the future 32% up maybe 10 years from now or 5 years from now, right? Or 2 years from now. So it really depends. It makes sense if inflation's starting to come down and people get more jobs, make more money, and COVID is down. Hopefully we don't have any more war problems, but war problems around the world. And if businesses start to go back to normal and the world keeps going back to normal, this kind of makes sense. If we just have to break out above the high of the cup, 454 and 472, the previous pre-pandemic high of, the previous pre-crash high of 2022. So it has to keep going like that. But it could double top here and hesitate and retrace back down to 422 if we have some bad data or something like that that comes out. So that's what I'm talking about. We're at a resistance point. Now, I am no FOMO chart, so I have to tell people that in the short term, we can pull back down because if we're looking at, say, like a 15-minute chart, a 15M chart, turn on EMA, maybe look at some oscillators. If we have this rally, the good thing is we are rallying up here on the EMAs. The bad thing is that once this RSI gets too high, it'll pull back. So we could have a test and a breakdown and see if that will either rally up or fizzle out and fail. So closely watching that. For our swing traders, look on the 4H, H4 chart, and this is what I'm talking about, is we do have a golden cross EMA up cross, but our RSI is relatively in the upper zone. It's not quite super overbought here at 80, but it's not low is what I'm saying. So here on September and October, we double bottomed here on the RSI on H4 chart for the swing traders, and they've been rejoicing right now. So I'm anticipating it could pull back to about 447 or even 435 before it tries to rally to the upside. It's happened before here in May. That's what I'm very looking closely at. Let's go to NASDAQ. So NASDAQ's similar. If you turn off everything for a moment, we could also see we're at the resistance zone. Where? $400 even. This upper, let me erase. $400 even. And we have a trend line on the bottom side that we're closely watching. So we bounced off of that trend line about 336. There is also the psychological cup and handle. It's not a perfect one. The handle should have retraced back down deeper, but it's close enough to me. So either this thing is going to double top like before, or we're actually gonna have the real breakout and we're out of this slump, this correction. That's what I'm watching very closely. Now remember, again, this is no former chart, so there was better opportunities to come into the market on these lows, understanding this could be a consolidation play. I like on the weekly, we have one uptick here on the MACD histogram. There is a shooting star, however, on the weekly from last week. That's what I'm a little bit concerned about for the intermediate pullback. Dow Jones as well, right at this resistance zone, losing a little bit of momentum into the overbought RSI level. right at resistance at 354. So the immediate gap support, there's a great tool, by the way, gaps free from TradingView. If you have a account here, just click the indicators box and type in gaps, and it is a TradingView indicator now. So then you can see on stocks, it's very easy to see. I'll change the colors. I like blue and kind of this purple because it's not green and red for candles. So I can very clearly see where is the major gap up support on the bottom, 346. So we're stuck here right now. It's not really healthy for price to just go straight up like this. It's not, you need to have pullbacks to keep it fresh in terms of keep it real rally, right? We almost had this head and shoulders, but we survived from that. Okay, so this real rally, it needs to keep going in a staircase pattern, high, low, high, low. Okay, 350 is our support. So I'm closely watching this. On the weekly, there's no bearish engulfing candle, so I'm not too worried about it right now. There just might be a short-term pullback. All right, Russell 2000, IWM, again, you can see the gap support right here at 174, wick resistance at 181, 180 candle body close resistance. And there was an upside down head and shoulders here with the slanted neckline, which should take us about 8% to the upside, about somewhere in the 188 range once it passes that neckline. Starting to lose a little bit of momentum, but the MACD signal line is still above the MACD is above the signal line, the blue above the orange, which is good. Weekly as well, we're surviving off that low. MACD histogram is starting to build. The monthly is a nice bullish engulfing candle with MACD histogram. For our swing traders on the H4 chart, starting to upcross here on these shorter term EMAs, and we have the golden cross as well. So I'm expecting, you could kind of see it now, the upside down head and shoulders and the price right here going the neckline. 176 is that support level. See if we can break up to the upside to the 180s. As I was saying earlier, let's take a quick look at XLF. XLF right now, we have a golden cross, but we're in the overbought. So I'm expecting this to pull back. It broke out of this triangle. So the triangle support level of about $35 is where we're going to go possibly support. If it crashes way deep into here, then we know something really went wrong. But also a pullback here. So high, low, and try to see if that happens. Let me pull up the chart. We have a question, and I'll answer that in a moment. Let's rapid fire the rest of these. So UUP, this is the, or you could use DXY, but we use UUP for now. They're actually different, right? So UUP is a bullish index fund, but if you actually look at the DXY itself, the chart looks much, much different. So I'll use DXY in this case, US dollar index, and it down crossed below the 200 EMA. So we know it's getting to this oversold level. It's not quite below deep into the 20s, but if we 618 this Fibonacci, if we Fibonacci this, it's at the 50%. It's not at the 618 yet. I would like it to get to 618, and we'll probably see some kind of bounce there, but we might get a bullish Dow Jones theory bounce right here. Watching that very closely. XLE Energy, what am I saying it's at support is if we draw certain trend lines. It didn't quite get oversold on a daily, but on an H4, it did down here. And if we draw a trend line, it should match. And this is what I'm talking about right here. This support level, support. So if it's going to bounce maybe somewhere in this area. That's why I'm putting that notice out. So if it bounces back up, this could be an upside down head and shoulders on oil, and we see if that measured move goes about like 4%. We also have the OPEC meeting, so it may or may not. The OPEC meeting is way more important than this chart in terms of the move. Oil as well, we can see it's below the 200 EMA, but it's starting to create some kind of potential upside down head and shoulders pattern. Maybe it doesn't always work. So again, it's going to defer to the news that comes out of the OPEC meeting this Wednesday, I believe. Let's go to VIX. So I do like the question from YouTube is, do I analyze the VIX when looking at S&P for the week? The short answer is yes, but I don't judge all and make all my decision off of this one chart. So if I'm trading the S&P 500, let's say if I'm trading SPY, this is all I need to look at for the most part. We can look at futures as well if you have a paid account. The VIX is important, just I'm saying because when it gets to kind of extreme. So if it's extreme high or extreme low. So for example, on the dollar, on the daily here, it is approaching our pre-pandemic level of about 12, which is why I'm starting to watch out for this a little bit, right? If it's 12 or 1150, that was quiet time in terms of, are we going to get this? I'm not saying we're going to get that, but it's just a general metric for me. It's not the final decision maker for me, but I do look at it. And especially you can trade the VXX itself. That makes more sense, right? The short-term VIX ETN for like a day trade or something, that makes sense if this thing's going to pop up or not. But I just check this to make sure if there's some kind of pattern, it makes sense. Like right here, you can kind of see a clue here. Let's say this is right before the pandemic happened in 2020. You can start to see the VIX is starting to go high, higher, low. We actually double bottomed, high, higher, low, and then we crashed. So we don't have that pattern yet here. There could be a very short term, if you're like an intraday trader, this might just pop down like a V-shape type of pop down. So the S&P could pop down for like a day or two. That's for day trading. But I don't see any huge pattern where it looks like it's about to crash the entire market. I don't see that yet. We might get a pullback is what I'm saying. Okay, let's take a quick look at some of the global indexes because I see some news about China about to bounce. So what are these people talking about? This is the Shenzhen Component Index. And it's not quite oversold. We did bounce off from that. It's trying to make a higher low. Maybe they're talking about this upside down head and shoulders right here. Potential that it could go 8% if it's going to be a bullish move. But the downside target continuation is also 9,000 on the bottom side. Nikkei 225, you can see here, we went from a double bottom bullish play to the resistance. So Nikkei Japan Index is also at a resistance point. So it's either going to reject down or continue to the upside. Where's our support level? 32,458. It needs to break and hold above 34,000. HSI, the Hang Seng Index for Hong Kong, it is still in this downward channel, and it's not going to break out bullish until it has to go above 18,500. It's just been kind of downtrending here. There is this little bit upside down. I do see it here, potential bullish reversal here. This looks like it's piercing to the 618 relative. Yes. So that's what people are kind of getting excited about, if it's going to bounce up to 18.5K or 19,000. See if that actually happens or not. But it's not a super oversold play, so I'm not going to get too aggressive about that. Euronext as well is tracking Dow Jones. It did almost hit the 50% retrace. It did double bottom, and now it's rallying in its short-term uptrend at a resistance below the 1365 level. If I go to an H1 to see some additional clues, could pull back to 1340 or 1330. Eurostoxx is very similar. UK 100 has been consolidating. Technically, it's in a daily death cross, but we could see the symmetrical triangle. This is not quite, it could be considered a descending triangle as well, but if we look at it very long term, it could be also symmetrical. I'll use the descending triangle. It just bounced off that low and see if it could go up to about 7,500 or not. But you can see the RSI is not at any extreme right now. It was on H4. It's just getting stuck right there. So it's either going to rally up to 7,600 or pull back to 7,400. Sense X as well, not quite super overbought to the top here. The H4 it's looking like it's short-term uptrend. The long-term, however, it's still stuck. Still stuck here in this channel. So I can see this actually pull back down to about 64975. Nifty is very similar, right at the resistance below 19.8K. I don't want to see it, but I might see it pull back down to about 19,432. TSX, the Toronto Stock Exchange, almost in a golden cross, almost. So very closely tracking, but why am I forecasting some potential bearish play? Is because MACD on the daily and the RSI is not down here. So we do have a down cross on the MACD signal lines, and this MACD histogram is not quite building to the upside yet on this H4. It could just pull back to rest on the EMA, which is 19.9K. TASI index managed to survive off of this low here, and seeing that if it's going to, you can see here, we go low to high, right to that 618 Pierce, right to the 382, so it could pull back down to 10.9K. And again, this might be a little bit more closely related to some of the meetings this week. Germany, DAX, getting to that overbought on the daily. Is it over for the market? No, it's not over. We're getting into this area, a market in blue. We're hitting this RSI level. We're hitting these RSI levels. This is maybe the third or fourth time this has happened. So then, let's say it happened 4 times. It is a little bit, possibly greater than 50% chance we're going to have a small pullback here. If we just look at it, it could pull back. And so as an investor, if I was trying to do some kind of ETF or index, I'm waiting for a little bit of pullback anywhere here, 15.6K to try to enter that for myself. Last one, XJO Australia. I know we have some Australia traders here as well. So I like this potential upside down head and shoulders. I like that. The neckline is right at 7,100 or 7,100. It has to break out of there. If it's going to go, it's going to go potentially 4.83% to the upside. I want to see it hit that resistance. If not, just put up a Fibonacci and understand it could pull back down to about, let me pull up pivots as well. Somewhere, maybe even down to 6,900. It's possible. Just to get that right shoulder really activated and then get the oscillators kind of reset on some of these shorter term time frames. It's not even down here at oversold levels. So I can see that happening, that one potential scenario. All right, let's look at just a few more stocks and then we'll go to crypto. Let's look at some of the tech stocks, for example. Starting off with Apple. So you can see Apple already starting to really round over a little bit. Microsoft, same thing at an almost all-time high and starting to round over a little bit. It might not happen this week, but I'm predicting it's probably going to happen in maybe this upcoming month. Tesla with the double top here. There's some issues with Elon Musk and X social media. We do have this double top on the price, and it didn't quite get all the way to the top of this 250 resistance, this line up here. So that's what I'm watching for, the EMAs. It's resting right now. So unless there's some kind of amazing news, it could pull back a little bit more to 220 given the circumstances. But the fact is, the price is resting. So it still could be a bullish continuation play. I'm just watching out for the news. Netflix as well, blasting off to the upside in this overbought range with some fading on the daily. Did we hit our pivots? Not quite hit the pivot yet. H4 pivots. Here we are. So we are in an H4 golden up cross. So nothing to be really scared of. It's just might get the pullback at some point. Meta as well, not quite super overbought. Now Coinbase had a very nice run. So what I like about Coinbase on the chart, I've been waiting for this for a long time, is I've been saying this maybe once a month or something, is we have this large upside down head and shoulders with the neckline that was tested, survived earnings, and we had the Binance news. That's why the price is up 50% off of here. Now, this Move should go 126% from the breakout in the future if Coinbase survives the SEC lawsuit situation. So Coinbase could eventually, in the most bullish case, it could retrace back to IPO levels. But this is a very, very interesting upside down head and shoulders long-term chart. And somebody could say it's cup and handle too. So either way, this thing needs to break out to the upside. We just broke it. It needs to maintain the upward momentum, but it is in the overbought range. There was plenty of time. There's like 4 months to get in on this neckline retrace. So for me, I'm still keeping an eye on Robinhood because Robinhood's still active in the USA here, and they can still trade crypto, some of the basic cryptos like Bitcoin and Ethereum and stocks and options. So I still think Robinhood has some importance and utility just personally here in America. But unfortunately, there is a death cross on this chart. If you rewind to Coinbase, Coinbase is actually in a golden up cross. So this is the opposite here. All I'm saying is hopefully Robinhood doesn't completely crash. Their earnings wasn't so great, but the lowest price ever was 685 on my close on this chart. And I'm hoping that this can actually turn around because the RSI is relatively low. So Robinhood needs some kind of bullish catalyst or news, or maybe strike a partnership or deal or something like that, or new features. AMD with the potential continuation, but it's at resistance. NVIDIA resistance as well. NVIDIA had a mega rally for a past year, 300%. Intel, look at this, right? This is what I'm talking about. It's golden up cross. So any of these support dips, these are all buying opportunities. But as a long, I don't want to buy up here. No, because that's going to pull back down. I want to buy on the next dip. We did a lot of tech. Disney had this nice upside down head and shoulders. That went 11%. It hit the target, so that's a sell for short term. Long term, this thing, like I said, pull back and maybe next earnings retrace. Many of these stocks look like that setup. Unfortunately, MJ retraced basically back to where it started. So sometimes if somebody's trying to trade marijuana or cannabis stocks here in America, which in almost half of America is legal here, so this happens. You get these really exciting rallies and then it fails back down. So it happens. I remember I traded this and I just got out of there. But it is interesting if somebody's looking for potential maybe future play. It is still building. It might not be over. So I'll keep my eyes open for any news because it retraced to the 0.88, survived an earnings crash. We'll see what happens here. Some of these stocks. So a quick look at some of the earnings coming out. Dollar Tree. Sometimes when it gets oversold like that, there are plays here. It wasn't that much, but if earnings are bad, this thing could crash back all the way back down to 103. Salesforce. Very close to the NASDAQ, so whatever NASDAQ's going to do afterwards, but we also have the earnings here. It could drop all the way down to 197. I would watch out for that. Kroger, which is a major food grocery chain here in USA, still in the downtrend. So in the pandemic, Kroger had its run, right? Kroger became very valuable for people stocking up on food and supplies, etc. Walmart for supplies, Kroger for like canned food or groceries, vegetables, etc. And then as the pandemic kind of faded out, we don't need this as much anymore. So that's the psychology here. So I wouldn't be surprised if their sales are down for whatever reason. So support at 42 and 40.92. All right, let's move on to crypto. If you have a question, request, just let me know here. And I do want to remind people, before I forget, is that TradingView, they had their Black Friday sale and their Cyber Monday sale. So I renewed my subscription at a heavy discount. This is like one of the best times of the year to try or buy a TradingView subscription. There's 3 levels. I have a premium, the maximum level, But, feel free to try whatever you want. And this is one of the best times, up to 70% off discount on the subscriptions for TradingView. Please check it out if you're interested. Also, what was beautiful to see on the news, I was very happy to see this, is that in the bar replay, this can benefit people of all levels. TradingView activated, you have to go to USD. TradingView activated bracket orders or OCO orders. This is wonderful. Now, how does it work? Let's take a look here. If we just buy, this is a random example, just play the chart and buy. Right? Then if you come here, if you hover over, you can change your take profit and your stop loss. Why is that important? It is extremely important as a trader, day trader or swing trader, even as an investor, to have an entry level preset, a take profit, sell profit level preset, and a stop loss, especially the stop loss. The stop loss is probably more important than the take profit, because stop losses can also work as take profit if you just move it up here. But I would combine that with the risk reward tool. You come here, it's about 1, 2, 3, the fourth tool down, long position or short position tool, and then click your entry. And then I would use this in conjunction with practice. Okay. So I just randomly bought Bitcoin for practice here at 16,665. Now, do I want my stop loss down here? No, because basically that would be 20% risk. So I'm going to raise that maybe to a more moderate level below my candle body close here, 7%. So then just manually drag that. And then my take profit, let's say I'm trying to get at least a 2-to-1 or 4-to-1 play. Since we're swing trading, let's do 4-to-1. So I'm going to leave my take profit here. And this is beautiful. You can also reverse the position if you press this button, which I'm not right now, and play and let it go and see. Watch it take the profit if the price is going to get there. Sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't, if you just want to practice, just for example, just lower it right below the price and it should automatically sell. And it's sold right here. And let's pretend we're done. Right? So it's perfect. It's the number one practice tool right now. It's actually sometimes a little better than paper trading, because paper trading, you have to be awake in the daytime to use it for stocks or crypto, especially in the high volatility market hours. So the fact that TradingView added OCO triple bracket orders is one of the best features for practice that I've seen this year. So thank you so much, TradingView. It's amazing. All right, let's get to crypto. So I would highly recommend that for anyone doing that. Make sure to use bracket orders, because without risk management or stop loss, trading is gambling without a stop loss or take profit levels. Okay, so total. Finally, getting to crypto. Total, TOTAL, we're still in this golden up cross. And remember that Coinbase chart, right? That where it kind of hesitates. We have this potential upside down head and shoulders, retest the neckline zone area, and then eventually it hesitates and then it pops up, right? So what's next? Well, if it's going to actually go the full about 40 to 50% from the breakout spot, we should end up somewhere here. If this is our breakout spot up here, 1.8 trillion total market cap, or 1.5 trillion. But as a day trader mindset, can we pull back? Yes, we can pull back to 1.272 trillion or 1.15, because it is losing momentum technically. It's golden up cross. We're losing momentum in the short term. So that means a potential short-term pullback. But long-term, hopefully if the SEC doesn't keep suing almost every crypto exchange major here in America, and if the crypto industry survives, it should actually survive and become stronger, and the value should keep increasing. On the weekly, what am I seeing here on the candles? We do have 2 hanging man candles. That is bad. That is basically going sideways, and it's starting to sell off already in the start of this today. this week. So just watch out for that. For me as a long-term investor, I understand that's going to happen. I'm going to have to hold through that. If I'm trying to hodl for 5 years or whatever, 2 years, I have to hold through it. I just need to make sure that we're not going to turn into a downtrend. Once we downtrend, I'm out. But if it's high, low, higher, high, where's my higher low and then higher high, right? So I got to keep holding for that as an investor. My monthly, we have a huge, very large MACD histogram. This is our first golden up cross on our first green MACD histogram that's bullish. So in the very long term, I'm actually excited about this. But how long is that going to take? Half a year, 2 years, right? So maybe 1 year from now, and we might be up here. That's what I'm watching for. Now, going to Bitcoin, which everyone wants to see, and we're all excited about here. Bitcoin still in this up channel. What do I like about this chart? We're golden up cross. We're golden up cross. Good. We're holding our support levels long term. Good. What does this right now price action remind me of? Well, we might pull back because it reminds me of these. We're not quite at the ceiling. I want Bitcoin to go to like 40 or 45,000 because that would make more sense. It's at the actual top here. Now, I might have to draw another line. Maybe this is what traders are watching. The shorter, the tighter triangle here, this line. But we can pull back to 34, 32, or 30. We don't really want to go below 30. For sure, we do not want to go below 25,000. If Bitcoin ever closes below 25,000 in the next 6 months, we're in big trouble because that means we're not in an uptrend anymore. But as long as we hold above that and hold these support levels on the bottom side, we're totally fine. As long as SEC doesn't sue everybody in the industry, as long as the laws go in favor of the consumers, I think we'll be okay. And as long as we don't have a bank run and everyone trying to withdraw on the same day, we should be okay. Let's take a little bit deeper look here. Slow down, take a little deeper look. We go to H4. We're still in the golden up cross. Totally fine. Bollinger Band is starting to tighten up. This could be considered a longer term flag pattern. Looks like this on the H4. We're still above the pivots. We're not quite oversold yet. If anyone's trying to enter into Bitcoin, I would look for these little dips here, right? Or a big retrace and try to get the next higher low, wherever that's going to be in the 30,000s range. On the weekly as well, we do have these hanging man candles, which is unfortunate. We do have the first down tick. So I'm anticipating the pullback. I'm waiting for it. But we're still in the golden up cross. So it's just a temporary dip because we went so high so fast. We got to cool down, cool off, reset all the oscillators, let the price come down, establish the higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher high, higher low. We're right above 31,000 and then higher high off good news moving forward from that. Has this happened before? Let's rewind. I am hoping, so I just told you the bullish case. Now the bearish case, I am hoping this is not the relative top. Why am I saying that? Because on a weekly, we're above all of our EMAs. We're not in air of space right now. I like to call it like that, space. Very high in the air. We're not very high in the air right now in the price. We're not at 65,000. We're not at 100,000 Bitcoin. We're only at $37,000 Bitcoin. If we had coin splits, this would be like 370 Bitcoin or $3.70 Bitcoin or 37-cent Bitcoin. So the number doesn't really affect me that much. It's more about the chart pattern. This is a bullish chart pattern. It's good for now. It's just kind of too high. Relative price. All right, let's go to Ethereum. ETHUSD. Again, on the daily on the daily, I see the golden up cross. It's good. This is good for now. A lagging indicator. Only thing bad is, well, it's not breaking out of this triangle. If I zoom out, it's still stuck inside the triangle. This arrow is the support level. I'll make another arrow at the resistance. We went from low to high, and so swing traders are taking some of their profit, right? high, higher low, higher high, higher low. We need to break out above to 25,000, back test, and then hit that 3,000 level. That's the bullish case. Gotta wait for it. I keep seeing news that we're at the start of a potential big bull run, and it looks like that to me on the charts. The big hurdle is SEC lawsuits. Binance, I believe, will eventually recover, eventually, if there's no more lawsuits against them. So let's see. ETHUSD. H4, we oversold? No, but we're on trending. We're trending up. Good. A little bit concerned about this almost triple top now. Where is that exactly? 2100. So it's good. I'll just put an alert here just to show people it's good practice. Put an alert here. 2110, for example. Every time. ETH, potential breakout. I'm already holding ETH, but if I was trading, I'll watch that. And the support, I'd probably watch about here, 1913. Good to have these alerts. Potential support play. And I just box the price in. I put it between these two lines. That's all I need to see for now. And I do want it to come a little bit lower just for people to get entries, right? But the fact that this is a potential ascending triangle is incredible because high, low, we should really break bullish out of here, but it could take a while, like months. It could go 100% from here. We could be Ethereum 4,000 next year. All right. The next support level could be the opposite case. It could be somewhere here in the 1800 level. It could fade, could consolidate one more time, fade down into 1800, and people are probably going to buy that, push that back up to the upside. So I'm watching that closely. Now, Binance Coin. This is what happens when there's lawsuits. Let's get to Binance Coin. Right? Just have a crash. We had this rally, the sympathy rally with Bitcoin, then we crashed. But did it crash to zero? No, which is showing that Binance Coin holding for now. But just keep in mind that Binance Coin just can't, it used to be $2 a long time ago. After pandemic, it was $13. So it's people are already up 1,534%. So I wouldn't be surprised if the coin or the stock price of this, the coin price actually came down over time. It's right at that level. If we see here, if we use a weekly trend line, I draw one line to understand maybe where it can drop to. It's either, if it's not going to bounce, then Binance Coin is going to come down to like a 134. It has to hold that level. So far it is, just for like a week. I'm watching that very closely. Solana. All right, Solana, I'm sure people are curious about this one. So we had a huge rally on Solana, and just taking a zoom out for a second, if I Fibonacci the whole life of this on the Binance Coin version, Solana USDT, we retraced to 786. There was that sim triangle, or excuse me, the ascending triangle here. There was that ascending triangle. Did we hit the target? Measure it. 140%. Did we hit that? We actually did, yes. So we hit the first target. The second target is 280, which is 618 retrace. We didn't hit that yet. We hit target 1. Target 2 is a maybe. So is it going to pull back? I think so. I actually think it will. Because it's flagging, and right before I start the stream on a daily, there looks like a head and shoulders pattern. Unfortunately for me, I'm an investor in this, but unfortunately, looks like it wants to come down a little bit. Head and shoulder with the neckline, right? So I might put a stop loss. I might move it up. I got a really, really good entry like way down here, so I'm not really scared about this. But if it happens, could crash negative 25%. So I have to make that decision as an investor. Am I going to... It isn't the golden up cross. Do I want to enter later or just hold through it and see what happens, right? So bearish scenario could come down to about $38 if that right shoulder. Sometimes it's fake and it just goes down a little bit and blasts back up. So that's why. Sometimes there's short squeezes. It happens. Like on Link, there's a short squeeze. So I'm watching out for that. This is the bearish case. Bullish case comes back down to support 52.52 and then breaks out even higher. I want Solana to go to like 100, then maybe it's time to do something, right? Dollars. Weekly, we'll see here. It did break out of there. It is in the overbought, so I understand weekly a little bit of trouble. But the first weekly might not be the end because the history is Solana, right? This thing, weekly here, there's been 2 times. So maybe I might want to try to wait for, are we going to get a second weekly bounce, right? The first pullback, and it's going to crash down to negative 25 or whatever percent, but can it continue? And we're going to be way up here in the upper hundreds. Then maybe I'll take my profit on there. So I'm just thinking way ahead of time right now. See what happens there. Cardano, beautiful, beautiful, but we're at the resistance, what I'm saying earlier in the stream. We went from double bottom support, this is exactly where I entered, sub 25 cents, rally all the way to top resistance. As a swing trader, I would start to take profit. As an investor, I'm going to hold. Why? If I zoom out, there's an even larger pattern that's possible, a W pattern. So if this is going to happen, we have to break above 47 cents and then go an additional 100% to $1. Is that going to happen right now? Might not happen right now. The short term is, it looks like it wants to pull back, like almost everything that I'm showing right now. Just for a short-term pullback, lose some steam momentum, retest this thing down here like 35 cents, possible. And then let all the value traders come back and then buy that back in, right? We might get a continuation December Christmas rally, maybe. But the fact that the daily golden up cross, we haven't had a golden up cross since the pandemic on Cardano, which is why I'm excited about this. Very simple indicator. I know I use a custom 4 EMA. I think I modified it or customized it. If it's too confusing for people, just bring up a regular EMA. Just set up one. So moving average exponential, and the standard ones are 50. You can use the SMA as well. I like EMAs, and a 50 and a 200. 50 EMA and 200 EMA. I like mine. Gold, yellow color for the 50, and for the 200, I like it red. Did I flip that around? This should be a 50 length. There we go. So now in the yellow, and I like to make mine much thicker so you can see better. Maximum thickness. Now, the white line is the price. We're looking at Cardano right now. We had the last golden up cross we had was May 2020, after the pandemic. Right here, May 2020. So we just got another golden cross right now, November 2023. So what does that tell me? That tells me that there's a potential, maybe a 55% chance or just right above 50% chance that we might get the next bull run for Cardano, because long-term golden crosses on crypto only happens like a few times in a couple of years. We had a death cross. Last time we had death cross, I put an X on it, was here in 2019 before the crash, and then also in 2021, right? So it's kind of important. It matters. It matters. So if Cardano is going to pull back down to 31 cents or 32 cents, that's fine with me. Why? Because last time that happened, we had a little rally. Actually, last time it happened, we just kept rallying. But unfortunately, eventually we had a pullback, and then we had a huge rally, right? So that's why I don't want to sell too early as an investor. Don't want to sell too early. This looks so early in the golden up cross that 2 years from now, Cardano might be like $2. That's if the crypto exchanges survived all the lawsuits. So that's why, as a long-term investor on crypto, I'm just waiting for this. On the weekly, for example, we're not even at weekly 618. Cardano could go to $1, but I have to hold. I have to be. Bulls have to have optimism and bravery. That's what bulls need as an investor. All right, let's move on. XRP. I want to do some more bar replay at the end because that was so fun. But let's go to XRP right now. If you have a question, just let me know. Live chat requests. XRP. All right. Unfortunately, XRP did not have a massive rally yet. So what that means is just holding off its support level. right here. There's an intermediate support. It's actually making a lower high, which is not good. It should go high, low, higher high. We should be at $XRP right now. But it's fading down. If this is a lower high, the bearish case is going to crash back down to 50 cents, and that's not good. Or 38 cents. That's not good. There is a potential head and shoulders here. It is golden up cross, so it's basically like half-half right now. A little bit more bearish because the price went up. But we're not getting post-pandemic massive breakout like that. You see that? It's not happening right now yet. So the price needs to hold above 54 cents, or else XRP is going to get a little suspicious of why is that not going up on the charts. All right, let's go rapid fire. AVAX, look at this resistance. It's starting to lose momentum. You could get a pullback on that. So again, if you're a swing trader, I'm looking for plays like this, double bottom in the price right there, and it goes 150% in how long? 40 days? That's a swing trade. So all the swing traders are like moving their stop loss like this right now. They're doing this over the weekend. They just move it up like that. So if you get any pullback down, you're going to stop out into 130% profit on that trade. DOT resting above 200 EMA. That's fine. I like this potential reversal play because it's been downtrending for such a long time. Finally, we broke out of the resistance. If it pulls back, holds above 450, then maybe this is the real rally. We'll see what happens. Right? Doge coin with the meme. Doge has golden up cross. I'm going to change my indicator now. So there are custom indicators out there if somebody wants to know. I modified one so it has a cross on it. So I like to see that. There's already the TradingView version of this. It's called MA cross. That's why I encourage people to, spend an hour. You have to have an account. Paid account is better because I believe your free account, you can only do like one indicator at a time. You could still do it, but you have to test one at a time. If you have a paid account, just put up, 10, 20, 30, 50 indicators from TradingView and just see which one works for you. Because I discovered that like the first, week or first month of TradingView is if you add the MA cross here, it has the cross, the little mark, and then you could change, I believe you could change the size of the cross. Oh, so that's more advanced. You have to copy this and then use source code and Pine editor. And if you really want to get advanced, it's right here, the line width, and you just copy paste, create your own. That's what I did for fun. So I'll just leave this up here for somebody who wants to learn, right? Change the colors, change my cross color to something interesting, change my EMAs. Now I have SMA 5200, make it thicker, make the cross thickest, and it's still small, but you can still kind of see it on the charts. Makes sense. So Dogecoin getting that golden up cross right here, right? Golden up cross. Now pull back where? Maybe 7 cents. 7 cents, it could be that support level, but it's significant because it broke out of a 2-year trend line, possibly holding that support level. Is this the big run? Maybe. Bitcoin's got to pull back first, then maybe we'll get this massive run into, it could be 4 months of rally because Bitcoin halving and then a sell the news event in the Bitcoin halving. Definitely possible. Hello, welcome. All right, Shiba Inu as well. Shiba Inu with the double bottom play. We can see here, double bottom. The target's still up here at 1,000. And we have this potential W play. But if I'm going to go long, do I want to buy at point A, B, C, or D? In this example, point A and C is better because they're lower priced. And because the fact that it's closer to the starting point, I marked this support level for almost 5 months now, 3 months, and I'm also in Shiba Inu. Now, is it a perfect spot to buy? It's a little bit high. It's 23% too high. So if somebody just buys now, it can actually crash down negative 25% on somebody. So that's why it's very, very sensitive to where somebody enters on the charts. That's why we are technical analysts traders, we use charts to determine a relatively valuable area, an area of value that's good to buy or sell. And it takes practice and study to get good at it. But TradingView gave us these tools to practice. Matic, I called this potential, and then it went up 84%. It took a month. It's beautiful. Now, the golden upcross, we see here on the big one, golden upcross, it's fine. High, low, high, low, high, higher, low. It needs to hold above about 70 cents to maintain that. Hold that higher low, and then see if it goes to 111. Atom as well. You can see the play. It's very common play. It's almost like bot controlled. High, low, high, low, high. Big retrace to 50, and then one more bounce. So we can get one more retrace to 880 and see if we get one more bounce. Near went a little bit too overboard. It went 100%. So I anticipate some swing traders are going to take their profit here. We do get that little bit of that down cross on the MACD. So we're going to see if it's going to get some area of value here. So again, if people are watching, if you're here for the first time, this is a more advanced stream. But the gist is, the general summary is for whatever, crypto or stocks, ETFs, options, Forex, if I'm long, just we have to stop and think about it. Turn off all the indicators. First, understand, what am I buying? What asset am I buying? Okay, it's crypto. What is it, Bitcoin, or what is this thing? It's near, it's an altcoin. It's an alternative coin. Okay, what is it? Now that's a different story. I should do this on Bitcoin, actually. Okay, so if I'm looking at Bitcoin, so this is Bitcoin, most people would know what Bitcoin is. So then if I'm trying to long this thing, and I want the price to go up, and I'm expecting to go, what's my risk, right? First, determine risk to reward. Okay, if I'm gonna put in $10,000, right? Risk, reward, and position sizing. I'm trying to get, let's say I have a $10,000 total account, risk 1% per trade, and this goes through my mind for almost every trade. So what does that equal? I can have a $1,000 loss. Excuse me. Let's make it super easy on people, right? $10,000 times 1%. You can have $100 loss, right? The original position size has to be $1,000. So how do I make this easy on people? $100 loss per trade. Per trade. Okay. So then if I'm committing to, if this is like a fictitious example, but it's extremely important, you only risk 1% per trade. Why is it not good to risk 50% or 100% of my account per trade? Because if any mistake in crypto is costly, 20% mistake, 15% mistake, that's already negative 35%. Another 15% mistake. That's negative 50% capital in 4 trades if somebody makes a mistake with all of their money. Versus only losing 5%, not 50% of capital. So then, once I understand my risk to reward, what position sizing first. And then what's my risk to reward ratio next? Okay. I try to get 2-to-1 plays. 2-to-1 plays, meaning try to get 2 risks to 1 reward. Right? So then we come to risk reward. I'm just giving people all the information, knowledge they need as a beginner intermediate. Let's just do it right now. 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio. So then when I use the risk to reward tool here, which is the 4th tool as a long position tool, what does that mean? Maybe my stop loss as a swing trader could be 10%. And then my target could be 20% on the upside versus my entry, right? So now I have an entry, take profit, and a stop loss levels all set up. So then going back to position size, how much Bitcoin should I buy in terms of dollars, right? If it's $100 loss per trade with a 10% stop loss, Another way to think of it is this. 10% of what equals $100? So we're going back to school, right? We go $1,000 times 10% equals $100. So $1,000 times 10% stop loss equals $100 loss per trade. And remember, we calculate $100 is our 1% risk. So then I just know on this particular example, I need to buy at least $1,000 of Bitcoin, whatever that number is. And then how do you calculate that? Let's pretend Bitcoin was down here at 25,000. I don't want to show people to buy up here. I wanted to buy down here. So if Bitcoin was $25,000 divided by $1,000, or flip it around, $1,000 divided by $25,000, I want to buy 0.04 of Bitcoin. Okay, it's not a perfect example because sometimes it gets confusing about, okay, we're buying fractional cryptos now. Usually people want to buy like 1 share, 10 or 100 lot, like 1 lot, 100 shares. In crypto, it's all fractional trading, right? For most people, unless you're like $1 million trader account or $1 billion algorithm, right? Most people, it's always going to be fractional because of the price of Bitcoin, right? So that's just something to understand and to practice in paper trading or practice. You can't practice that in bar replay because you can only trade like 1 or 0. For the most part, it works best with 1 unit. But this is the mentality of the sequence that I go through as a trader. So as an analyst for TA charts, I'm not thinking about this yet. This is trading in the blue box. This is all trading skills. Okay. As an analyst, I'm looking at the chart first and I'm saying, okay, Bitcoin. So I'm rewinding now. So when I log in a trading view, I open a Bitcoin and I say, okay, what's going on here? All right. Where's 2023? Right here. Maybe make a mark. This is 2023 in the vertical pink lines. And I see it's starting to go up. Okay, I knew we came from a downtrend. Good. Holding support at 15K. Holding support at 20K. Holding support at 25. Good. All good. Now draw a trend line. Support play. Resistance. Trend line. Good. I'm identifying support levels. I entered here for my last trades. Then I say, okay, I look at the news, maybe pop open here. I understood SEC, Grayscale, Coinbase, Binance, what's going on there, right? Understand that it's going slightly bullish. Looks like we're going to have upside down head and shoulders breakout. Should go about 26%. And then I longed. I went boom like this. Then I turn into trader mode. Then I have to log into my exchange. What's the position size? What's my total account? What's my risk per trade? What's the dollar amount of that risk per trade? Then I use the tool to calculate how much I need to buy, right? And that's generally easy for people to calculate. Bitcoin is harder because it's going to be fractional. So I need to buy 0.4 Bitcoin with a 10% stop loss and a take profit at least 20%, maybe 40% in this example as well. Okay. And that's swing trading. That is professional swing trading, that professional style swing trading. That's risk reward managed. That's position size managed risk trading. If a trader's not doing this at all, if there's no position sizing, if there's no risk reward, then that trader's basically gambling because there's no process. There's no safety net. Some people don't want that term, safety net. There's no risk management. It's actually risk management. There's no take profit level. It's random. So randomness in the market is a losing strategy. Emotional feelings is a losing strategy. But using the position sizing tool in combination with a correct or proper technical chart setup could be a winning combination. Needs to be over 50% winning combination. And to test yourself, Got to do paper trading. Got to do bar replay, which for about 5 minutes we'll do. Okay. Most people don't want to hear this. Most people, like 90% of people I talk to, don't even care about charts, don't even care about position sizing or risk reward. But this is the hallmark of, I would say, of advanced to professional traders understanding this. Intermediates, like basic to intermediate, is starting to understand this. But advanced this is automatic for me. I don't even have to think about this anymore. It's automatic every time. As I trade, almost every time. As an investor, it's different. The position size and risk reward is much more different. So let's do some bar replay and put this into practice. Let's go. We're on Bitcoin. Most people are here for the crypto. So let's go Bitcoin. Just pick a random spot. Close my eyes here. Random spot. All right. Wow. All right. I remember the history of Bitcoin, but let's still try to do this. So let's pretend I'm long only. Like pretend I'm green only. Like I cannot short in America. Let's pretend that. Green only. Let's say, because I'm in swing trading, let's say I'm trying to get 2 to 1. Reward to risk here. 2 to 1. Reward to risk, meaning 10% approximate stop loss with a 20% reward to risk. Now, somebody might be saying, oh, this guy knows all the answer already. But then actually, I don't remember exactly 100% where it went. But this is already looking pretty high to me. Bitcoin on this chart is already parabolic, right? So how do I set this up? Let's start. Analyst first. Chart analyze first. So if there's any news, I would read that first. Then, let's see. Let me get my support levels. Very steep. See that? Very steep. Can even draw a parabolic, but I'm not going to for this example. Where's my resistance? 58,954. Support level. Big support way down here at 41,000. Check my indicators. Golden off cross. Okay. We're still in the continuation. We're relatively high though. Second time this is entered the overbought area, losing momentum. So I'm expecting the price to go up and then come down. That's a typical pattern. Not quite out of the Bollinger Band yet. The candle here is not an extreme sell signal yet. This is actually just bounced off of this 20 SMA. So I'm anticipating this might go up a little bit more before it crashes back down. So let's test that theory of let's buy here and then slow. Yeah, they have to slow down here because it won't make my take profit stop loss on default. I have to drag it, right? So the fact I have my entry set up, then drag my stop loss first down to approximately negative 10% level, drag my take profit level to about the plus 20% level, and then we bought this now. So this is a live practice trade. Let it go. Got stopped out. Got stopped out. All right. So that's not good. That's not good. But I like the control. Okay. I like the control. Don't panic. That was one potential trade. I still like this play. Right. If I had no stop loss, let's see what happens. It keeps going down. Keeps going down, right? And then we have the reversal. So let me try to play this again. Now, it's not I'm not playing it by emotions. If this is a pullback, I got stopped out once, that's fine. It seems to have support here. I see hammer candle, morning star, bullish engulfing candle. So let's try one more time with the buy. Stop loss. I might have to make it just a little bit, maybe at 12% stop loss because I have to go below the candle close here. And let's go a little bit higher to about like 24% or so, right? And keep in mind, this is when Bitcoin is super high in price. Okay, so that second trade worked and we ended up with $3,000 profit. So I'm still just trading one Bitcoin, right? So this is a good example. This is like real life of sometimes it bounces off of that EMA, sometimes it doesn't. If you used additional indicators, could have timed it a little bit better than this example. Maybe if I was using an H4, I think I bought it right here at 50. That wasn't quite oversold, so I could have waited till it was oversold here and get that better entry. Now, let's flip the script and say we're going to practice shorting now. If you're an international trader, you could probably short Bitcoin. USA cannot short Bitcoin that easily due to laws here, for the most part, on crypto exchanges. So let's keep that 10 to 20%, right? Let's say, again, it's approaching my resistance. So I'm still doing technical analysis while I'm getting prepared for the next one, but I'll do it a little more simple. So this thing is still rallying. Bitcoin is really expensive right now. What is this? $59,000. Could keep going because this is showing me momentum is forming. I don't see any extreme sell signal yet on the weekly, but it's getting there. So if this breaks out, maybe long it. If it's going to short, let it come down, right? So I already seeing this double top. So I'm just not going to long it for now. Let's let it go. A breakout. And let's see if it holds. All right, starting to lose some momentum up here, right? Starting to lose some momentum. So it looks kind of weak to me. And if I check in maybe another oscillator or indicator, we do have a MACD down cross here. Just keep it simple on the daily. So let's pretend I'm going to short this thing. And shorting, I would use much less capital, but let's just use this example. So I'm going to sell now to short, and the take profit and stop loss is reversed. If you've never shorted before, stop loss is here and take profit is way down here. So let's see if this is actually going to work or not. And so again, it's not random. I'm not just clicking buttons randomly. I'm combining maybe 4 things. So number 1, the short term is lower low, lower high. So I'm expecting it to go lower low. Where? To maybe 47,000, maybe to 40,000 if it hits my take profit directly. This is starting to look like it's getting too high on the charts. On an oscillator, we're losing momentum on RSI, and I have a down cross on the MACD. So there's already 4 reasons, 3 to 4 reasons right there. Maybe the 4th reason is the H4 starting to lose momentum. Lower high, double top on the price, rejection down. So let's see if I could hold it and let it go. Starting to sell off. We have a rebound. I might get stopped out. Okay, so this trade didn't work out. In real life, I probably would have sold it here. Closed it out as soon as I knew, oh, it's not going down. We had a Morningstar reversal, right? So that short was a little too early. Let's go next here. Keep moving. Starting to hesitate. Still above the EMA, so I'm cautious right now. I'm cautious. All right, we're starting to lose it again. And so now I see the actual lower high here. So there's the other 4th reason. So let's sell it again. Take profit down here, stop loss here. Could get stopped out again. There it is, right? So it got stopped out twice. That's okay. Don't want to get stopped out too much though. So in this case, I'm pretty sure this happened to people in real life too, is we're all expecting, okay, Bitcoin's too high. It's just where's the absolute top, right? I do see this giant doji here. So if I was going to really commit to the short, just be more patient. Just wait for it. See that, okay, now I see there's a big short here. Okay, I have to make the decision. Did I lose my support level? I did. It seems like somebody executed a very large short here. Now it could retrace back up, and I'm expecting maybe a drop. The MACD is losing momentum. My weekly finally has a large doji candle losing momentum on this MACD histogram and having a large RSI. Live to trade another day, right? That's what the point is. So keep going. Let's set up the next trade. And this is kind of huge, right? 10% stop loss. It could be bigger than that. But let's sell again. And it's good to just keep practicing, right? So again, I'm not using really my full suite of trading tools, but I'm just doing some of them. Try to short this thing down. Could pop up on me, no problem. Finally, we get some down cross action momentum. That's a big reversal. This is a little bit concerning right here, right? That's a huge morning star. So this was an hourly, probably RSI high to an RSI low here. But I believe this looks like, because this triangle is lost, I believe it's going to probably rally, hopefully not to my stop loss, and then go down lower. So I'm gonna let it run. Okay, then we have a morning star. Do we have a, excuse me, we had evening star. So we had a morning star into an evening star rally attempt. This was a higher low rally attempt, but hit this resistance, shooting star, short. So I could enter another short if I wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it alone. Hesitation bounce, up cross. This gets really sketchy right here, but the fact is, committing to this resistance, I'm committing to my stop loss, committing to it, not afraid of the P&L, right? This 60,000 is the resistance. So as long as we don't go above 60,000, I should be okay for a short. There's a big short. Now, in real life, I would say, yeah, there's a problem here. We're starting to get some big selling off, big resistance like 60,000. It took me several tries to get the short, to get it on the right timing on this example. But I like this. It's wicked into my take profit, so I know if I was day trading, very, very close to selling right now. So I might flatten any second now. All right, so market flattened for me. Right, so the volatility in the P&L, yes, it's kind of, going up and down or whatnot. But I think it's just good to practice more the risk management instead of trying to hunger and kind of thirst for trying to get a big payday. Does that make sense? I'm actually practicing more, for example, the risk management so that I don't blow up my account or that I don't have a major loss. I'm actually not even paying attention to this that much down here. Now, next setup. Let's say somebody, in third scenario, somebody's going long and short, trying to play both sides of the market here now. All right, what am I seeing? I know I have this resistance up here at 60,000. Now, I do have intermediate support right here about 41.4. Okay, there is a EMA support there as well. Pretend I'm not using any indicators at all. The fact that we lost this large trend line down here, large trend line, see that? Also another marker, support, but this turned to resistance. So now I'm thinking, well, this thing looks like it might want to go down. Lower low, lower high, lower low, but I'm expecting it to not go down without a fight. It's not going to just go down like that. It's going to stair step down, maybe have some relief, short squeezes, up. So I have to be careful. If I'm biasing short, I have to be careful I'm not buying the bottom short every single time because I'm going to get stopped out every time. So if we're going to short, I have to short off of a resistance to go down. So already understanding that, I'm not planning the short down here. I'm planning it up here somewhere. So if it ever rallies, I'm going to short it down from the roof down for the second time. So let's just wait, right? In the meantime, I can try to practice a long. This is good practice as well. Trying to play like this. So if it's going to go down, that's fine. If there's the relief, it might bounce. Let's see if I can catch the bounce. Let's pretend I like this hammer area. Let's just see if this is going to be the one. A little risky just doing it off a hammer candle, but it's paper trading, so just do it. Take profit up here, stop loss down here, and let's go. Biased, not good, right? But there is support building, so not quite hitting that low yet. Let's keep going. Because there's multiple candles, let's just do it again. right? Stop loss, manage the risk, take profit at the buy, and then go. Very, very close. That is very almost disturbing level close in terms of the stop loss. Sometimes you get lucky like that, right? It just barely tapped it on a wick. It didn't close. But what am I seeing here? A double bottom starting to form. I like it. So just for safety's sake, let me just pull my stop loss just a teeny bit down. And I like, it's hard to see, but you're starting to get a little double bottom. So, okay, maybe measured move, right? Measure move of like 15% right up here, 45. Let's see if we get to that. So minimize that, take profit, and commit to it. Here we go. I actually have 2 positions open right now. It's not really looking that great. We got survived again. My goodness, right? Didn't get stopped out. So sometimes putting a stop loss, the buy point is very, very important, right? If I was more patient, I would have waited for this right here. So I'm just going real fast right now, but if I was more patient, wait for a real setup, wait for a support, wait for a hammer candle, wait for something to give me a better signal. But I'm just showing the risk to reward tool in this example for the most part. The fact is, how many times did we hit this? 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 times. So there's support down here. And this is like realistic. Sometimes you're going to get extremely close to your stop loss. Sometimes you get stopped out. Sometimes you don't need the stop loss because it's going up so fast. But it's always good to have one. So let's play chart, see how high the relief bounce goes, if we even get it. All right, got stopped out on that one. Not a very good trade. So this is showing that Bitcoin is in trouble. Bitcoin's in trouble. Theoretically, it should go high, low, high, low. We did, but very, very subdued, right? So if this is going to short now, I'm watching for the breakdown here. See the break of the breakdown of like 32,000. See, and the loss was considerable because it was 2 position size on that one. Let's see if we're going to get the short here. Hammer candle. So even for me, I know my emotions right now is if I'm feeling something, maybe it's the bottom actually, right? So got to go contrarian. I want to short it down, but that's how the market works is sometimes the market pummels traders or positions, market makers so much that they're trying to stop hunt. They know we're trying to play longs here, so they're going to stop it out, stop it out, stop it out, stop it out. And then the algos, they're going to flip and take that profit, right? So let's just see what happens if I actually go long here off of that contrarian concept. Right? It's not a very convincing bounce. Not very convincing at all. I do like we have a higher low here. I do like this higher low, right? So just from experience, knowing stop hunting, we finally hit this right here. Getting a higher low. Okay, that's good. Maybe move my stop loss a little up. Take profit. Let's get that to about like 20-ish%. Somewhere around there. Might have to buy another Bitcoin. But let's see. I like the higher low. Still barely surviving. But you see how weak it is, right? In real life, I would not long this. But for practice, it's like you can feel how hard it was to trade back then, right? You can feel how the moves just were not happening up there. In real life, I didn't even trade any of this at all. Once I took my profit at 60,000 Bitcoin, I was out because I'm like, I don't want to touch this anymore. But you can feel it and you can see it. Trying to force something doesn't always work in the market, and you can have considerable losses, even with risk manage. So in pretty deep here with 3 Bitcoin, even if it breaks even, I might have to just flatten this, right? I don't want to have too many paper losses. Why flatten and get out of here? So I'll just flatten and get out of there, right? Because it's just not working. As much as somebody wants to try, right? To try to go long, try to play support, sometimes the market just does not go in favor of the trade. And even though I was risk managed, you can see having too many paper losses, for example, is significant loss. So in real life, I would not be overtrading this much. Maybe do like 2 trades. So where would it be? Like here, and then maybe here. Maybe one long attempt here. 20% might be too big in this scenario, and then take the short maybe somewhere right here and pull it back down. Right? Let's go ahead and watch this. There's a reversal. There's take profit. So finally, after the 4th time, right? Finally had that win. Keep going here. So as we're hesitating and it's starting to finally go up, I'm going to start to build a short position. Have to move fast here. Starting to build one. Right. And hold on, it's going too fast. So in terms of starting to build a position, set a stop loss and a profit target. And it's just for example's sake, I'm starting to just like build the position size and go more aggressive because that's what people do, right? Let's keep seeing how this goes. The stop loss is really tight. It's a little uncomfortable, so I might open it up a little bit. Because, if it just one candle closes right above the resistance, it's game over. So it's a little too close for me. I'll probably open this up more realistic like that. See, short squeeze. Start to see a little shooting star action. Let's build more. Hesitation. Do I get that lower low? Hesitation. Very close again to the stop loss. It's kind of funny. Are we going to get stopped out? No, survived, right? So you can see that having a stop loss is very good. I was getting a little bit concerned, like, okay, this is not working out. But totally hit that resistance point, and then people in real life were thinking the same thing I am as a trader is this is going too high. This is probably the weekly lower high. It's probably going to end up down here, way down here, right? A little bit too close for my liking. So in real life, I do use indicators that help me fine tune. This is a very coarse, rough example. A little bit too close for comfort. Speed this up here. So losing this trend line, finally got it. Finally got the trend line. And it's starting to downtrend into my favor. So I might start to lower the stop loss, increase, tighten up, since it's working in my favor. Whoa, very close again. Very close again. So you can see them, you can feel and see the market dynamics. People are trying to short, they're getting squeezed out. This was really what happened in real life. Right? And then we get the short squeeze. So in this, I'm actually losing on purpose. Let's see, how can we have done that better? The 20 to 10 sometimes is too big. What are we watching from this? What are we learning from this? Is only using price can be too unreliable, I would say, right? Going too much, bunching up, not good, right? Let me close this out and show a different example, right? Let's put on some indicators because just doing price sometimes is not good. Let's go back here. So let's rewind the bar replay to around the same time, somewhere around here, to like a 50,000. This is kind of where we started, right? So let's pretend I actually use some indicators that are very common: EMAs, MACD, RSI, still on a daily. And let's say I was right here, right on this, before this big red candle. It was right here. Right here. Even better, it's like floating in the air. Rewind this. Back down, probably to about here. I think this is where we were. Right before this little crash. Let it go. I think we're at like 50,000 something Bitcoin when I started. Somewhere right here, right? So if I actually use some indicators, it should increase the chance of success or failure, right? Or increase the chance of success for the long. So here we go. It's starting to come down. Now I'm starting to see finally, remember I went long like somewhere right here just off of that hammer candle. But I know that from experience, maybe adding in a MACD or RSI can definitely help fine tune the entries. So when I see the chart like this, I'm saying I'm preparing maybe for a short, but it's too early for me. This is not the setup that I like. So just let it go. I'm still patient. Just going to skip all of that. Now here is something that showed up is we start to get a little bit of MACD histogram with a higher low here. So this is a continuation play. Now I can do the same 10%. So you see, just using one indicator, I avoided the initial like 3 or 2 losses I had here. If somebody's just trying to chase candles, it can get pretty frustrating. But if I add on maybe MACD or RSI or EMAs, I skipped all of that and waited for, oh, there's actually some kind of momentum here. So maybe I might want to long this with some moderate amount of risk here, like 10%. We can still do the 10-20. And as long as I break out of this resistance and don't go under the stop loss, should be good, right? So we use one, take profit, stop loss down there. I do have one in the position and let it go. Starting to stop out. So it's not running in my favor. I'm just going to flatten this one. I'm going to not even let it go down here in real life. Flatten it. Small loss. Keep going. I do see now we have double MACD momentum. Now I'm going to re-enter. I could have probably left it, but let's pretend I'm being very more conservative this second round. We're in. I like this morning star. I like the MACD histogram momentum. See if it's going to go. Holding that EMA. Ooh, that's not a good one, right? So sometimes the last one, because we're trading Bitcoin hypothetically at the top, that's the last. This is literally the last Bitcoin trade. So I don't like this not rallying. This theoretically should have rallied. So I'm gonna go ahead and flatten here. I'll take a small loss. So keep in mind, I had 2 losses, but very, very small. Very, very small. Right? Now, what am I seeing here? Starting to lose momentum on that MACD histogram. Down cross on my EMA. But the RSI is getting oversold, right? So I'm not going to short down here. You see here, it hit the 100 EMA, those hammer candles, and then RSI oversold on an hourly. Not going to do it. Now I start to see long. I'm going to be patient. Still going to be patient because when I'm this high, I see resistance, 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 resistance. This is still not really looking, it's not really looking confident in terms of the rally, right? This should have been high, low, high, higher, low, and then hit 70,000 Bitcoin. That didn't happen. So I'm like, okay, in real life, I sold all my coins in this zone. But for the practice, I see resistance. So I'm actually getting ready to short. And you can see that I had much more conservative approach this time around using indicators by TradingView. So getting ready to short, not quite yet. Let this thing go. I see it starting to build up again, right? You'll notice that I'm skipping all of those other price candle trades that I was doing, right? Maybe I could have shorted here, but I'm skipping all of that because I'm actually looking at it in combination. Right? I see a support level here. This is starting to look a little bit better, right? So then maybe I'm going to put in my 10%, my 20%, and then start to buy here because I waited for a long time. Yes, we did a death cross, so this is probably the last like long higher low trade. Put the support here. Maybe I'll double up just for this example. You're gonna survive. Potential higher low. Nope, let's stop myself out on that one. Little tricky on the entry of only looking at daily, but I do like I have another support here. So buy. Finally hit the profit target. I'm just going to flatten right there. So in terms of, yes, there's a lot of volatility going on, but you can see that I'm a little bit more conservative here. In real life, I would not even have touched this at all. I sold at 60,000 range and I didn't even touch until Bitcoin was back to like 30 or 25. But if somebody was really aggressive and like, I want to trade every week type of thing, then this is kind of what they had to deal with back then. Now, I do notice we have a death cross here, right? Lower low, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high on the weekly. So I'm anticipating we hit this overbought, starting to lose momentum, getting set up for a potential short soon. Now, I do see bearish divergence on here, so now I'm really going to set up for a short. But I'm a little cautious because it's EMA up cross. So I'm not touching it. We do have a golden up cross, so I probably even not short yet. But we're starting to fade down, right? If I look on a weekly, this is not really that inspiring. Lower low, lower high. So I think that it's going to come down, regardless of what this MACD histogram said. It's just a matter of timing it right. Because if it's going to EMA bounce, it could bounce to my stop loss and then crash. So I want to be a little careful of that. But let's just do it anyways. Right? You see the bounce? Good thing I didn't have my stop loss. Floating around. We're below 200 EMA. Bouncing though. There, okay, so we get stopped out on this one, right? So you can see my initial thought process of, yeah, that's probably going to happen. So sometimes entering into a trade, honestly, is just too early. You got to wait, have a lot of patience, wait for the next setup. So I start to see my MACD histogram actually going down. There's that stop loss in there. Well, there's that big sell candle was waiting for, right? But if it's not a manual sell, just keep letting it go down. For sake of time. All right, then flatten it out here, right? So trying to play Bitcoin back then, it was a little bit of a challenge. I still remember that. In terms of, I initially sold here, and I remember I did trade this last one, and then I stopped trading in the big crash of 2022 to 2023. And then I entered into where you see where we are right now, like 15, 20, 25, 30. So having good like 100% gains right now. But this example for right now, whatever reason, a little bit more volatile than I'm used to. Not quite hitting my 67%, but this second example, up 13K on this trade, right? So let's keep going here. And it's hitting this double bottom area with the death cross. So we're probably going to get a relief bounce. Probably getting a relief bounce, low, high, low, lower, high, but then eventually lower, low. So I'm not going to short down here. I'm going to wait for it to kind of short up here. See if it will bounce off a resistance. Sometimes we get that death cross continuation. All right, so it looks pretty weak now. It's death crossed here, low, high, low, high, low, high. It looks like it's rejecting off of the EMA, so I might get set up for the next short here. See, it relieved. Good thing I didn't buy that. Want to short down from a resistance relative. I don't think this might not be the top. Let's see if it is or not. You need one more bounce. Okay, now I'm going to start shorting, right? So now I'm going to start shorting. Like my stop loss here, may take profit. I'm not going to do such big take profits now. Try to tighten it up a little bit. Still rallying. Got to stop down on that one. Gonna short again. Mark that last resistance. And then flatten the position, right? So even if I take the loss, it's okay. Sometimes it happens. But you could see the general concept was there in terms of I knew at some point this thing is gonna probably get rejected now because it's death crossed. If it kept going up, that means we're gonna rally back up to 60K. So from experience, it's low, high, higher low, but then a lower high on the weekly and the dump, right? But then not getting too happy about this is it dumped back down to its previous level of support. So it could bounce here again because we are low on the RSI. So I really do use MACD and RSI quite a bit. You can see how much more efficient that was, even though it's volatile, but I did way less trades combining several indicators rather than just doing price candles, because price candles on a daily sometimes can be very tricky. If I'm only doing price candles, I probably want to wait for a very large pattern instead of just like one candle. So we're going to end soon. Try to end with a long here, but I'm going to be a little bit more conservative on this one. We are in the oversold range. So maybe I'll buy one, but I'm a little hesitant because it can reject again, but let's buy one to start the position off. Yep, that feeling was true. All right, so now that I see a little bit more evidence, okay, there's a little bit of support here and it's starting to momentum up. MACD is above the signal line. Let's build another position. Ooh, that was tough stop loss. Right? Let's just pretend somebody had no stop loss here. Right? Down this much, that's really bad. The chances of it actually going back up and like rallying back at the 70,000 are very low. This is what happens. I didn't have the stop loss already set up. Market moved against me. I'm holding it too long, down big, right? So just in real life, just flatten that. In my opinion, just flatten it, live to trade another day. Don't lose all my money in one account. Don't even think about the P&L too much. Right, so now I see a little bit of double bottom with the bullish divergence. So I like this play a little bit more. It could crash down on me even more. Totally possible, right? So this is like getting to bullish mode where I'm starting to build position. I'm starting to build positions now instead of just thinking like, oh, it's going to go to 60,000 right away. So I see it upside down head and shoulders. It could crash on me again. All right, I like this little relief bounce. Let's just pretend I did a little scalp right there, flatten that out. And then I feel like it looks like it's a little fake out, right? Hitting this and might reject back down. So that had a double top effect. Let's start to build a short here. Trying to claw its way up. It's actually a little dangerous to start that short here, but there we go. A relief bounce on an oversold. Somebody's shorting it down even more. And to keep it conservative, not get too greedy. So I am mentally having a stop loss is somewhere around here. And if this is not going to go down too much, just take the profit. It's okay. Just take the profit and lock it down, right? Because I'm seeing something else happening here. You have a low, high, lower, low. Is this my potential double bottom? Possible. It's possible, right? So keep going. Going to get upside down, head and shoulders, maybe. Good thing I closed out the short, right? All right, so then there's one more big one. Started to hit oversold levels. Where did it go down to? Somewhere like 15.5K. There is, you can see it started to go a little sideways, upside down, head and shoulders. So, and there is MACD histogram. We have bounced up, oversold. Here, what's my risk to reward? Something like there is that 10% down there with the 20%. Okay, maybe I'll just buy some. Buy a little fraction or buy some. And just try to see if that's the real bottom or not. Kind of dipping. The shorts try to short it down one more time, but the fact that it's going sideways and it's not really crashing right away, there's some clues here. Maybe we'll get a little relief. If we break the high, buy another one. All right. So let's just pretend we flatten out right now. That one really went double 2, 3, 4 on that one because that was an interesting, beautiful setup. It's missed that short, but that's okay. Start to go down here and symmetrical triangle, higher low. So that's a very key indicator. Higher low, and then boom, up to the 200 EMA. So as a swing trader, would take my profit there. Yes, there's some wild swings in the volatility, but it's because I'm actually a little over trading right now. Let's see here. Kept going a little bit. I am no FOMO, so I'm not really going to chase it too hard. It looks like it wants to come down a little bit, so I might execute a little short. And again, just to reiterate, I do not overtrade like this in real life, but I'm just trying to show the tools. Get ready. Well, this actually could bounce, but I already pressed short, so let's see what happens. Actually shorted down here, so I have to tighten that up. There's actually a golden cross here, so I don't want to short it down too hard. All right. It actually dipped down and then bounced back up. Let's just flatten that right there. That's okay. Right. So now, as you know, if you think about the strategy, it's usually short on the rejections. There's so many marks. I have to close this. I can't see. Right. It's short on the rejections. If I can tighten it up one more time, it's like short on the actual resistance points. But then, remember I was saying here when we back up, there was a golden cross that occurred. Right? So if when a golden cross occurs, it's greater than 50% chance we're going up. So in real life, I did buy Bitcoin in this range, 16,000 range. Held it through this. Bought a little more when we had that news break here. And so if somebody really wants to do it like this, it's really risky, right? Because you have the golden cross and then shorting it and trying to hold that is not going to really work in my favor long term, right? But if somebody really wanted to do it, let's just see. Probably have to do tighter stop losses and such. Just picking some interesting short points. Not really great to do it like that. Okay, I just flattened it almost like just too quick randomly, but right, somebody trying to short, it's not going to last that long is what I was trying to reiterate. So flatten everything, and let's go ahead, and it's starting to hit that 200 EMA, probably getting into the oversold range with MACD. Starting to build. There it is. There's that long. Started to fade down again, right? So even if I miss the long, that's okay. We're seeing here, if I'm trying to practice shorting, it's hitting that resistance point. How far is it going to fade down? Okay, since they already hit my mark, I'm just going to flatten it. We have the profit. So, yes, somebody could play both sides of the market like this, right? Short and long. But then for me, because I'm an investor for the most part for this year, is I like to get value. So it's like I'll buy some here at 17. Instead of trading, I'm going to buy some here, maybe wait to buy some here at 20. I bought some at 26, and then in Solana, I'm up like 130%. Right? So that's the mentality. Or Cardano, I'm up like 100% or 80 almost, right? So sometimes trading is like over trading is just not good, regardless of whatever system I'm using or whatever. Is I've learned over time, the older I get and the more experience I have is to not touch it so much. So if I'm trying to flip everything, flip every 5 minutes, that's day trading scalper style. It's more about fine tuning the entries, right? Because you can see the first 30 minutes of this practice example was over trading with only candles, trying to flip too much, and then it was catastrophic loss. This is the third session. Second session was a little more conservative. I let myself have wild swings in there. It's probably not good to have that many wild swings because the risk is supposed to be 1%. But for this example, I'm using a whole coin, and that's why I'm having such wild swings. But ended up with almost plus 18,000, plus 17,000 profit. This third section, much more conservative, just doing like 1 or 2 trades, still up 6K on this example and moving on to the end, right? So once I identified here, it looked bad. I still remember this and saying this on stream, saying if we have this on low, lower, high, we should dump down. If it happens, there's a potential head and shoulders with the neckline breakout and see if that goes down to about like 25, 30%. If it doesn't, it could reverse and we'll see go back to 33. So I'm getting ready here. Let's just see how low it goes. Oh, we had a little pop up. Starting to go sideways though. All right, it's starting to really ride that EMA. So we're not quite crashing just yet. And if I want to put on some risk, we could do the 10 to 1, the 2 to 1 here. Right? Let's just put on some size to make it a big number for people. And then if I'm really using analysis, upside down head and shoulders with neckline breakout. Right? So that should go 8 to 16%. I'm gonna have to reduce my target a little bit. Okay, so once I see it start to go up, I need to put my stop loss. Let's put a take profit like up here somewhere. Let the market. Okay, so there it is, right? So I had to put on some size to show people some numbers here. But in terms of playing, that's exactly how I played it. I bought a little bit earlier than that. Many altcoins and up right now. But just like in the beginning of this stream, a lot of those coins are probably going to pull back. So we don't have the rest of the data here, but I'm expecting some kind of short or a little bit of a pullback here, right? Of pullback back down to like 30K or so, high, low, high, low, high, low, maybe pull back to 30 or 29. So in these two examples had about 35K paper money profits. The first example was just an example of like somebody just going with no indicators at all, almost over trading on a daily chart, guess we've all been there. Yeah, you know, at 1 minute it can happen on 1 minute, can happen on 15 minute, can happen on daily. Overtrading is very dangerous. So even if I have the 2-to-1 risk reward ratio, that doesn't save me. This doesn't show me the exact spot to buy. This just manages my loss. But even if I have a 10% stop loss, right? The position sizing of this example is not correct because it's one quantity. So I'm playing 10% of my whole account, for example. Or if one Bitcoin's 30,000, then that's 10%, which is $3,000 loss per trade. So I can only lose 10 times and then I lose all my money, right? So this is kind of an extreme case. What is more, you can only do it in increments of 1. That's why. So let's say that if this had position sizing, then the loss would be much, much more manageable, but it only has a quantity of 1. I hope you understand that. So if Bitcoin's 30,000 and I have 10% stop loss, that's $3,000 loss. If I keep losing like that, you can lose 50% of your account in like 5 trades. So then the question really becomes, and what I want to really show people while I close out is, it's not really about focusing on P&L. It's more focusing, even before focusing on risk to reward, it's more about the chart setup first. Because even if I have this risk reward and I just buy randomly, you could still go bankrupt by making too many mistakes, right? How can somebody blow up their account? Well, let's do one last example. How can somebody blow up their account? It's actually easier than we think in a bad way. Let's say somebody's here, Bitcoin is this 20K, and somebody believes, oh, we're going to Bitcoin 10,000, and they keep shorting. And they're building huge amounts of position with no risk management. And they're like, oh, I'm up $2,000. What could go wrong? You keep building a position, and you're like, oh, it's going to go down. Just a matter of time. But you're in the wrong direction with no stop loss, no risk management. And you're saying, oh, it'll go down. I'll just fix it here. Actually, it's not going down, right? Then this trader's down negative $50,000 or negative $40,000 in 2 months. Catastrophic. So rather, even before focusing on the position sizing tool or risk management tool, really understanding setups of price and indicator combinations can save a trader their account. So to rewind this, so this imaginary trader would have lost negative $40,000, and sometimes that happens to beginners or people with no risk management, right? Or just no setup. So how would I play it? Just to close out, if we were here, and if I use my usual set of indicators, for example, is even if I didn't, we're seeing that, okay, there's a potential double bottom play, right? Stop loss right here. You could have a stop loss below here, but it has to break up to 24 or like 40,000, right? So is it going to break up? We're not sure. It's still crashing down. It's not quite, I remember this day. It's still not quite. We almost had that breakout. A lot of longs got tricked here because we had a lot of upside down head and shoulders expectation. Should have went up. Didn't. Crashed back down. So I know just from experience, the RSI is probably low here at some point. There we go. And I'm still waiting for a better setup. Is it going to crash or is it going to stop? I see a little bit of signs of an upside down head and shoulders. Bitcoin, where at like 15.5. So maybe I'll start to buy, go long, because I'm expecting it to go up. My imaginary stop loss is way down here, like 15K. And my take profit, for example, let's put it way up here. So what is that? That's about 10% to about 24% or so. That's acceptable. The real way to do it is this. If I expect it's not going to crash, I'll start building a position, right? I bought it right before I saw the higher low. It was hesitating. Boom. It's starting to go up, right? That's good. Then we lock ourselves out. We take profit at 10,000 K or 10,000 profit, right? That was like one trade. I'm not over trading. So again, I have to split my mind in two, basically. I have to split my mind in two and say, all right, before I even put money in the market, before I put risk reward tool, position size tool on the screen, is the price going to go up or is the price going to go down? I have to understand that first. I have to understand the price pattern. What was the price pattern here? How was I successful? Why did that look so easy? It's because if we rewind and let it go, this almost looked like the bottom in September 2022, almost, because we had support here, double bottom. Remember, I tried to play this and then it's not going down. Okay, maybe there's some kind of support structure here. Trying to buy a little bit of long. It was oversold. My indicator package. It was oversold but it kept crashing, right? But it kept crashing. And then we're starting to see a little bit of MACD histogram. So when this thing is starting to go down, maybe it's not gonna, price might not go up. So then it's starting to build, right? I love this. When I see the MACD histogram with a double bottom and a double bottom here, that's enough signal for me to do something. So I'm long this. So again, it crashed. This failed. This was a bullish setup. Upside down head and shoulders. Neckline failed. Crashed back down to oversold. Double bottom price. MACD histogram. RSI on the upside. I'm getting interested. A stop loss here. Buy at least one. If it goes up, maybe I'll buy another one. Okay. If it doesn't crash on me, maybe buy another one. We're starting to ride. I like it. We're not going down. Bought another one and then take the profit, right? So that's 15K of profit. Basically average of 20%. That was very aggressive turnaround, right? That was basically $80,000 in the market right there to scalp that or to swing trade that. Somebody could go that aggressive if it's the exact perfect spot. But most people probably just do one, right? So that's why. Fast forwarding to now, do 1 Bitcoin or less than 1 Bitcoin. Fast forward to now, all of that 1 hour of interesting paper trading, what do I think is going to happen? It looks like we're probably going to pull back, right? Just everything we experienced in 1 hour is higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, barely a higher low, higher high. So then probably it's going to pull back a little bit, at least. Will it be such a long consolidation? Probably not. Maybe a small one. It could just bounce back down to maybe the 26 or the 200 EMA, 26, which would be here, 36,000 or like a 50,000, right? But I do want to show that. I do want to show that to people. All right. So I went way over time and way overboard with the overtrading examples today. But I just want to let people and show people sometimes the reality of trading. Some people think trading is like the easiest job in the world. It's actually not. My performance, my P&L is determined how well I can interpret the charts. And if I'm going to be right or wrong, I need to be right more than 50%. My average is about 70% correct for trading and investing. And in this example, it wasn't 70%, but it's good practice. So does anybody have any last questions? I see I have a couple of viewers here before I sign off. Any last questions about anything? indicators, tools, trading, stock chart, crypto chart. Okay. Thank you for that. So again, just to recap, the first like half of that paper trading just goes to show that, if somebody's going to only trade on candles, they need like a very, very big, good pattern or a high probability chance setup before taking any trade. Just flipping on candles, like one candle here, one candle there, is actually a recipe for disaster. Personally, I like to trade or I like to invest with indicators, which is that helps me get a little bit. Candles and indicators gets me up to that like 60, 70, 80% correct trading range, investing range. And then I just don't overtrade. So I'm older now. When I was younger, I would just I wanted a lot of action in terms of price action. But now that I'm older, I actually want less. Like the more I study the charts, like I just want to buy one time, right? I would like to buy once and then let it go 500% or 100%. That's exactly what I just did right now. On Solana, for example, because I'm older and more knowledgeable and experienced, is I set up the play. I see the play, set up long term, long with a stop loss. Long it. Stop loss is a little too tight there. But up Solana 162% right now, or 160%, right? Because I saw this and understand, oh, there is a 136% opportunity. Just kind of wait for it, right? Some short got destroyed when they shorted this thing. They said, we're not going up, and they're holding it till now. This is why they had to manage through that move. Short squeeze, destroyed, right? But I do anticipate Solana to come down a little bit. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you learned something about the charts, price candles, risk management, long versus short, overtrading versus conservative trading, patience, all those things combined, emotional control, etc. So I hope you have a good week, and I will probably return on the stream in about a week from now, so approximately December 3rd. And just keep an eye out for any pullbacks this week. And happy trading, everybody. See you next time. Thank you, and bye-bye.